good afternoon to everyone, maybe even good morning for some of you folks. Appreciate y'all joining us today. Really, this is kind of like the kickoff to your informed season for us in Greenshades, and likely all of you joining today. So this is just designed to be kind of like the kickoff to the season, high-level overview of year-end forms. Really what I want to do today is just provide an introduction to Greenshades. I know that there are some folks here on the call that are very familiar with all we do. There might be some people here that are generally familiar with some of the solutions that you're using today from Greenshades, but there might be some people who are generally unfamiliar. So I want to make sure that everyone is aware of all that Greenshades can do. We can help in a variety of ways, from our unified full payroll and HR platform to very specific solutions such as year-end forms. So I do want to provide a kind of a big picture view of year-end forms, high-level understanding about what's at stake, the importance of deadlines, and then also talk a little bit about how we can possibly support y'all during this year-end form season. And then at the conclusion, we'll have a Q&A. So to Daniel's comments earlier, feel free to drop it in the chat line. Don't be shy if there's something super specific. If it's something really general, let us know. We'd love to share our response here live with everyone, because some other folks might have the same questions that you have. As far as myself, my name is John Osberger. I am a director of sales here at Greenshades. I know that some of the folks joining the call here, we've had the chance to talk. I'm pretty sure I've met one or two of y'all actually last week in Orlando at a conference. So thanks for joining. I have been at Greenshades since January of 2020. I oversee the point solutions. The point solutions are essentially the very targeted, specific solutions that our clients leverage to help improve their payroll and HR experiences. I have been in business software and technology sales for going on 18 years and running, and I've had a pretty varied experience in sales, going back to my retail sales management and operations and management days. Sold a refrigerator to Steve Spurrier, worked with Bo Diddley, sold him a tractor, sold a TV to Tom Petty over the phone, not in person, unfortunately. And even a digital picture frame when those things were big. Sold that to Jeb Bush. You guys can probably guess where I worked. Some probably narrow down a couple of cities. But very happy to be at Greenshades. I've been here almost 3 years and excited to work with folks with their payroll and HR solutions. So big picture overview as far as Greenshades is, our goal is to help ensure that our clients' in-house payroll and HR processes are as compliant and as efficient as possible. Over the years, we've actually evolved into a unified solution that can help manage that overall payroll and HR environment. But as mentioned before, we can also help with very specific targeted needs as well. So like on the HR side, we can help folks deliver improvements with employee self-service, improved engagement, essentially provide a much more valuable HR experience for admins and also employees as well. Specifically on the benefit side, we can improve those open enrollment, those QLE processes for employees, just make that information, make those processes more accessible. We can also help make things a bit easier to manage on the admin side. We can also help with managing time and labor, making sure that time is easily accessible, easily entered, and obviously accurate as well. Or like we're doing today, we're talking a little bit about the payroll tax side. So whether it's year-end forms, whether it's your 940s, 941s, state, local returns throughout the year, we can provide quality solutions to help with those processes. And, as mentioned, we do have the full unified payroll and HR platform that can kind of tie everything in together for a single one-stop shop for improved payroll and HR management. Now, Greenshades ourselves, we have about 20 years of experience in the space as far as tax and compliant. We're actually a little unique compared to other service providers, other solution providers in the payroll and HR world, and that we came up in what you would consider the compliance space. Compliance is core to what we do as an organization. It always has been, it always will be. So everything that we do, from the solutions that we provide, enhancements we deliver, compliance is always going to be key to that. Now, we actually branched out a little bit in around the 2007, 2008 timeframe to start providing employee services, improvements with document management, with onboarding, with benefits, and then the natural evolution from that point forward was to provide that full unified platform. What we're going to talk about today, just like with most of our solutions, is based on a cloud-based solution. It's hosted, it's all in one. It can potentially support all your employees from hire to rehire. Being cloud-based, it is easily accessible. It's easily managed because Greenshades is doing most of the work for you. We're going to be the ones that are maintaining the service, providing the updates. And then as far as our clients, you'll have the potential to leverage our full solution or just very targeted specific pieces of that to help out with payroll and tax management. And we do work with 3,800 plus organizations. Generally, we work with the mid-market space. That being said, we work with clients in the dozens of employees. We work with clients in the tens of thousands of employees. On the payroll tax side, we actually help with year-end forms of some organizations in the hundreds of thousands. So regardless of size, scope, our solutions have the scalability to support your needs and your requirements moving forward. Now, I do want to stress that this is not presented as formal legal HR advice. Please consult your local counsel, your organization's legal and accounting teams if you need any specific advice on that. The purpose is just to provide a nice high-level overview of year-end forms and how Greenshades can help with those processes. Now, if you are interested in some assistance when it comes to HR and legal advice, we have a partnership with My HR Counsel. We can assist clients either with a standalone service of that. We can bundle it with some HR services, or if it's also included with our payroll and HR platform. So now that is out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and pivot to year-end forms. All right, so what are year-end forms? Year-end forms, essentially the wrap-up of the year when it comes to payroll tax reporting and processes. Best way to think of it is a way to wrap up the financial year. Obviously you have a need as a business to calculate, validate, file taxes to the IRS. Other regulatory agencies need to make sure you meet all those federal, state, and local requirements. There are going to be some pretty strict deadlines when it comes to year-end forms. And of course, it's not made easy by the fact that those deadlines can be varied from local to state to federal. Even at the federal level, there's going to be discrepancies as far as deadlines. The W-2 is different from the 1042. The deadlines for the 1042 and W-2s are different from the 1095. With 1099s, you can even have discrepancies as far as deadlines based on, which boxes have information, have data in them. So it can be a little hectic. There's some uncertainty there. So you need to make sure that you are staying on top of those deadlines and obviously understand the consequences. And also very important with year-end forms is you want to make sure that you are prepared with very solid, meticulous record keeping, making sure you have updated employee information. Very important to have these records on hand with employees, that you have correct and accurate addresses, social security numbers, addresses and TINs for your vendors for 1099s. And then preparation is really important when it comes to 1095s because usually you're dealing with a larger amount of information, different types of information than the other form types, could potentially be housed in different systems, locations, require some effort with collecting that information. So obviously being a good spot with your record keeping is only going to help with 1095s. On that note, I'm going to go ahead and pause. Daniel, is this a good time for a question?
Absolutely. Actually, the poll question, we got the first one here. We're going to launch. So you should see it popping up on your screen now. What is your biggest concern with year-end form filing in the 2022 filing season? Print and mail service for all of your year-end forms, ability to distribute W-2s and or 1095-Cs electronically, a simple and accurate filing process for our year-end forms, or all of the above. So if you wouldn't mind, just take a moment and answer that for us the best you could. Thank you so much for those responses. John, back to you.
All right, very good. Answers, I guess not really surprising. Just want things simple, accurate, compliant, all of the above. It's a very important process, so I can definitely understand nice balance there in responses between just making it simple and accurate and making sure all those bases are covered. Well, nice thing is, as you will hopefully learn, Greenshades can actually be a good partner for that. Alrighty, so all the above, it's a good segue as far as deadlines, what's at stake. As unfortunately, some folks on the call may have realized over the years that if there are, lateness with filings, if there is inaccuracies, there are some pretty important consequences. Depending on when you return, those consequences can actually be higher. So those can escalate, those can increase over time. Whether if you're in a situation where you file late by a couple of days or a couple of months, there could be some pretty big differences in penalties. Some of those penalties can be not just based on lateness, but even correctness of the returns and of the forms. Most costly consequences, fines, penalties are going to be where they are, there's intentional disregard as far as the data. There's also potential differences in penalties based on whether you're a small or a large business. There's max amounts, but when it comes to max amounts, if there is intentional disregard, then there actually isn't going to be a maximum. So penalties can be pretty big, depending on the nature of the penalty. In addition, there actually is going to be interest on penalties as well. So some of those fines can really start accruing if they're not addressed in a timely manner. Additionally, miscalculations in taxes and withholdings can have some pretty big consequences as well. On the employee side, if there's if you're taking out too much withholding from an employee, then they're at a disadvantage because they got paid less at a time when perhaps they could have used the money. If you take out too little, then you need to go ahead and make up for the difference. You either have to go to the employee and essentially get reimbursement for taxes they didn't pay, potentially work out a payment schedule on future paychecks. Most organizations really don't want to do it. It's not the employee's fault generally. So they're going to be in a position where the alternative is they have to essentially cover that difference themselves. That process, it's not just really going to be the financial impact, but of the taxes themselves, but there could be penalties on top of that. Addition, there's going to be some time, there's going to be some effort, there's going to be work involved by administration in ensuring that those discrepancies are taken care of. Big picture, there is going to be some risk of damaged reputation through inaccurate, late filings. Word spread, amongst employees. If you're in an industry where there is a lot of fraternization, if folks tend to stick in one industry, then word could spread not only within the organization, but to other organizations as well. If there are some pretty serious issues and you're a large organization, a public organization, then that information could become public as well, which is going to be damaging to the organization and the brand. And then on the employee level, having to manage an incorrect withholding situation, dealing with employees getting their W-2s late, even if they're late filers, employees want their W-2s on time as promised, that could lead to some issues with engagement, with morale, could be a contributing factor to employee dissatisfaction. Obviously, things aren't great right now as far as, employee turnover, unemployment is really low. The last thing you want to do is, create some dissatisfaction with your employees, and being late or inaccurate with taxes and tax filings can definitely, unfortunately, contribute to that. All right. So 2022, there are some things to keep in mind. We are still dealing with some, after effects of the past couple years. We're also dealing with, at least on the IRS side, some after effects of really the past 9-10 years. The IRS workforce, it's down about 13% compared to, I guess, 2012, even though the population is up 6 to 7% in that time frame. So, the resources on the IRS are they're not really matched up with how the population has been growing. In addition, still dealing with the impact of some of the legislation, some of the decisions made around COVID with in-person services being suspended, the increase in telephone demand, online information, refund information info was pretty limited, and then dealing with all that. 21 million returns were expected to be stopped for errors. Obviously, the past couple of years have been pretty difficult as far as managing year-end forms and payroll tax filings. So still playing a little bit of a catch-up. IRS is still trying to catch up. They're still a little bit behind, so that is impacting 2022. Outsourcing, partnering with year-end forms, combined with some improved and really accurate record keeping, can help throughout the process. If you're working with a partner like Greenshades, you can help make the process a little bit more efficient, more timely, and just put you in a better position, to manage some of the challenges that are just inherent currently with the filing process. And then combined with that, just as has been recently in past years, some jurisdictions are, still in a position where they have to release year-end information. Here at Greenshades, and we know there are clients, we're waiting for what some of that finalized information and, possible changes from previous years is actually going to look like. All right, so a lot of uncertainty, a lot of consequences you need to think about. So let's talk a little bit about how Greenshades can help. We do offer what you would consider a turnkey operation. We can provide a wide variety of year-end services. We can help with digital processing. Now, digital processing can mean a few things. It could be the federal filing, providing you the appropriate state files if needed, even make forms available to employees electronically. We can also help with the print processing. So we make it really easy for our clients to self-print their forms, make it easy for them to save files for future on-demand printing as well. But really more importantly is we can help with the actual distribution of those forms through our print and mail services, where we'll print out the forms, put an envelope, attach the postage, and send them out directly to the recipients. One less thing that our clients have to do, in the office, because they tend not to be in the office as much anymore. On top of that, we can also handle some of the formatting, data verification, data validation, just to ensure that all the boxes are checked, make sure nothing's missed, and really provide an end-to-end service to help make things a lot more efficient. Dan, you want to go ahead and just pause real quick for the next question?
Absolutely. Thanks, John. I appreciate that. So I'm going to go ahead and launch the second poll question for you. You should hopefully be seeing that on your screen now. Question very simple. How do you currently distribute your year-end forms? Is it electronic distribution, print in-house and distribute at work location, or outsource print and mail to a third-party provider? So if you could take a moment and let us know your answers to that, we would appreciate it. All right, and John, it's yours again.
All righty, thank you, Daniel. So yeah, it looks like about almost 3/4 of the folks don't really want to deal with printing in-house anymore, which is definitely understandable. Definitely seeing more people want to take advantage of other alternatives to that. So some of the challenges that clients are inherently facing around year-end time that Greenshades can help with are, some of the requirements are going to be very complex. There's going to be a lot to do to wrap up in 2022, not just year-end forms, but everything else an organization has to do as you move into the new year. And Greenshades can be a resource to ensure that you can navigate and manage some of those complex requirements. So we'll handle filings, validation, distribution, so you don't have to focus on that. You can focus on some other bigger picture, more strategic, more important year-end activities, getting the year started up as well. You don't have to bring in extra resources or have folks stay late just to handle distribution, you can partner up with Greenshades on that. Next level is we'll handle things like social verification, TIN verification for your vendors. We even take a look at the individual forms that you're building out with your filing and give you alerts and warnings if we see some sort of compliance concerns, and we'll point out what needs reviewing and possibly updating on your end. With that, we help with understanding the requirements of all the various jurisdictions. Can be very complex and varied amongst all those various levels. So we'll let you know by looking at your filing if you have fields missing data where we're expecting to see data for compliance reasons. If something is easy to look over as like a local tax is not being taken out, but or is being taken out and you're missing actual local wages, we'll take a look at your return. We'll take a look at your individual forms and ensure that you are going to be compliant, based on the federal, state, and local requirements. Regulatory changes are also, something to keep on top of. That's something we can help with. We have a dedicated tax team that stays on top of all those regulatory changes. We make the last minute updates within our product to ensure that when our clients file, they are going to be filing in a compliant manner. And then as far as the technology, want to make sure that the technology in place is up to date, modern, a 2022/2023 solution. We can do that at Greenshades. We do that through our hosted platform. That way you can ensure that when you log into Greenshades online, you're using the current, modern, up-to-date solution that you need for year-end forms. All right, I think we're missing a slide here. Real quick, as far as year-end forms, as mentioned, Greenshades has the ability to handle distribution. We can print it out, send it out directly to your recipients. You don't have to do that in-house. Doesn't matter if it's an employee or an independent contractor. We're going to provide you a service that will allow you to get printing out of your office and leverage a partner that can handle that for you. As far as multiple form types, we handle, I think, around 20 different form types right now as far as year-end forms. So your W-2s, your 1095s. I think we support about 10 different 1099s now. And then even types like, your 1042S, which goes to foreign persons, your T4 for Canada. So we have a lot of clients taking advantage of the various form types we're using. Most importantly, though, the process for using Greenshades, it's easy, it's secure, and it's also ERP agnostic. So whether you're on a new cloud-based ERP, whether you are using a long-standing on-premise accounting package, even if you've got something homegrown in-house that was built years ago, you can still leverage our solution because we have the flexibility that our various clients need. And I apologize, there should be some rates up here. We can definitely follow up with you after the session today with some specifics. I'm not sure why I didn't make on the slide. But I do want to point out that we are offering a 20% discount to clients on this webinar who sign and pay by October 31st. Nice thing with year-end forms is we can quickly have that conversation with our clients, find out what their needs are, and allow you to quickly take advantage of the promotion. But again, we can go ahead and follow up after the session with the appropriate rates. All right, so real quick, Greenshades different. I know we're wrapping things up. Just have about a moment or two left. One thing I do want to point out, we've talked about a few of these topics already with providing full unified services. Payroll and HR side of the house, compliance is key to Greenshades, key to our clients. One thing I want to stress is our top level customer support. Our support is all in-house. It's what you would consider tier 2 or tier 3 support. We do not farm out support. They're all US-based folks. When you reach out to support, they're people who can help you diagnose and resolve your issues. It's not going to be a matter of calling someone and just leaving a name and number to get a call back for someone qualified. The people that we have in support are very qualified to assist with their clients. Feedback we get from our clients, so it's much more positive experience than working with other folks in the payroll and HR space. Alrighty. So Thanks again for your time, everybody. Appreciate y'all joining. Please reach out to sales if you have any questions about what we've covered today. Anything else on your mind related to the payroll and HR world, we will provide after the session the current rates for your review. We'd love to chat with you to take advantage of the promotion that we have running based on today's webinar. On top of that, we have a couple other webinars dedicated to year-end forms here in the next couple weeks or so. Daniel, do we have any questions from the audience?
Yeah, John, thanks so much for asking. Just for the sake of time, I'm just going to grab one here for them. I don't want to take up too much time, but John, here's a question for you. Can you provide electronic forms to employees?
We can. So there's a few ways we can do that. We might have some clients on the call today who are using our employee portal, our employee self-services. That is one vehicle to do that. If you're not taking advantage of that, there still is an option for employees to get their W-2s and 1095s. When you file, you'll actually have the opportunity to send out a link via email to your employees. Just need to make sure that when you create your filing, the employee email addresses are in there. When you send it out, employees have the option to get their tax forms electronically. They can also acknowledge that they're fine with just the electronic copy as opposed to paper. And within Greenshades, we will actually track that for you. So when it comes time to actually distribute paper copies, whether using Greenshades or yourselves, you will have an understanding of which employees have opted out of paper and are fine with electronic. So it's a little easier to manage, and you have fewer paper copies to actually send out. So we can help manage that. Not only get the electronic copies to your employees' hands, but also help you track only the paper copies that you need to send out.
Good stuff. Thank you, John. We appreciate that. And for all the other questions, again, thank you for chiming in. We appreciate it. We'll try to create some future blog posts to get some answers to that other stuff that's been asked. So just wanted to say thank you guys for joining us today, and we really appreciate it. Have a great rest of the day.
All right. Thank you, everybody.